MS Art Studio. My name is Keeks, and today we are going to be playing with negative space paintings, and we're going to be doing that with gouache. And it's going to be heavily influenced by a channel called The Wild Pencil that I like to follow. I've never done negative space paintings before, so I thought it would be a lot of fun to give it a go and see what it's like. And I did put in the description the video that I was influenced by. So I'm going to try to do something similar to what she had going on. And it'll just be us kind of playing with the paints and trying to see what we can make. Before I begin, I did want to give a shout out to this Etsy shop that I followed. So I ordered some cards from the shop from Etsy that were gel printed just because I like ordering from small shops. And she has two shops. It's called It's All Treasure, and then there's It's All Treasure Art. So one of them has like different art supplies in it, and then the other one has like her actual art. Both of them are very good, and I really appreciated she had sent me a sweet note. So I wanted to show you what I got from her. So these are her gel prints, and this is from her spooky pack. This one I bet glows in the dark. Here, I'll hold it up just a little bit more. This is like some bats, some flowers, but I really enjoyed her gel prints, and I thought I could use these into some small journals later. And like I said, she wrote me a sweet note, so I don't mind shouting out your shops if you leave me nice notes and give me gifts, because she did both of those things. So being a smaller shop myself, I love shouting out other shops. Look at this one with the webs, that'll be cute. Um, yeah, I just really enjoyed what she made and how she presented herself. And once I show you these cards again, I will let you know what this is called again. That almost looks like a doily in there. That's kind of cool. But yeah, so lots of different images there. Pretty sure. Yeah, now we're back at the beginning again. And then she also gave me these two gifts. So these are what is called her spin art. So they look pretty cool. Not really sure how she does it, but apparently it's genuine spin art, and then I think she goes back over it with a marker. But yeah, once again, she has two different shops. One is simply called It's All Treasure, and the other one is called It's All Treasure Art. So please check out that Etsy shop and give her some love. So with that, what we're going to use today is we're going to use the good paper. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I have out first, and then we'll get set up. So some things that I like to use with my paintings is I like to use a bit of washi tape. I like it because it's not super sticky and it usually doesn't tear my pages. I like using clips to hold things down. Today we are going to be using the Caran Dash Studio Gouache. So this is what it looks like. So it's got all the colors plus some white gouache that you can mix, which I have mixed the white gouache in there. I don't really like to if I can avoid it. So I don't think I'll be doing very much mixing of that. We might mix some of the colors together. That could be a thing, but I don't think that I'll be that interested in mixing everything else together with that white, just because it really changes the consistency of it and makes it a little bit thicker than gouache in my opinion. You'll notice I have 3 glasses of water. I try to do that on purpose whenever I paint with gouache. So gouache is thicker than watercolor. So one of the things that you will notice with your gouache is that your water is going to get dirtier a lot quicker. So what I would recommend for gouache is have 1 cup of water for just water. Like that's the one that you want to keep clean. You're going to want 1 cup for things that are on the hot side of the spectrum, like your reds, yellows, oranges. And then you're going to want another cup for like your darker colors, your cool colors, your dark blues, your purples, that kind of stuff. Because with gouache, it does get your water really messy. And then we're going to be using one of the journals that I have made from scratch. Hey Zah, how you doing? So this particular journal, the reason I am going to be using it is because it has Arches paper in it, which if you don't know about Arches, Arches is a very thick paper that's really great for watercolor. It's not gonna rip on us. Oh, hey Mo, how you doing? So it's just a really nice paper. So I think that for trying to do this technique, I'm hoping that this will be good for it. If it ends up going bad, then I also have regular mixed media paper as well. But I don't think we should have any problems. This is my first time that I'm going to be trying the negative space technique, but I don't think we will have problems. And then towards the end of the painting, what I want to be able to do is use embellishments. So I have my big old collection of Neocolor 2s in here. It has a mixture of the 48 color set as well as all of the anniversary sets because I'm kind of a freak and I love my Neocolors. And you will notice that all of them are broken. I do break all of my Neocolors in half so that they are no longer precious to me. That way I use the colors. Because what I was finding is whenever I was keeping them whole, I was too worried about keeping them perfect and then I wasn't using them. And what's the point in having art supplies if you're not going to use it, especially when it's your favorite art supplies? So, take some of those things into consideration. So let me go ahead and find a clean space for us. So it looks like this is going to be our clean space over here. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a bit of weight to these pages with my clips. That's what I use that for, is just to kind of keep the weight down. And once again, this is inspired by a YouTube channel called The Wild Pencil. She is an amazing gouache artist that someday I hope I could live up to. And her last video I have in my description, but she did this wonderful negative space painting of a mushroom forest. So that's what I feel inspired by right now, and I thought that I would try to do that and see how it goes. Um, because I haven't really played with my gouaches in a while, and one of my friends in real life has actually just started getting into gouache. She's been using the Himi gouaches, which I love. And I was like, you know what? I want to paint with some gouache. So, Megan, if you're out there, you have inspired me to use my gouache. Thank you very much, ma'am. So, that's what we're going to be using today. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to um, put down some tape. That way we can have some nice clean edges because I think it's really fun if you just kind of let your gouache get wild and then you have these nice clean edges afterwards. So that's what we're gonna do. The Wild Pencil, she has such great brush control that she doesn't even need to do this. She actually somehow gets the water to do what she wants, wherever she wants it to be, and she ends up with clean edges without using tape, which I think is pretty awesome. So once again, if you're looking for an awesome gouache artist, highly recommend. So I've got those down now, and then just to add a little bit of weight, I'm going to add my clips. That's really the only thing I use them for because otherwise, because this is a hand-bound book, the pages tend to always want to flip up a little bit, and I don't really want that to happen. So there we go. Now this is, like I said, Arches watercolor paper, so we can be totally fine with putting down as much water as we want, and it should not ruin the paper. So I am going to go ahead and choose a brush here. And let's see. That's odd. I don't see my bigger brush. Where's my bigger brush? We're going to use this one. So this is a size 8 Ohuhu, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put water all over the page and get it nice and saturated. If I need to add more water to it later, I can. But the whole thing with the negative space painting is you want to use a lot of water. That way you can get the colors to really flow into each other. Because you want it to be soupy. Now, what will that say for us about drying? I don't know. It might take a while, but it's okay. We're in good company, so it should be just fine. So I'm going to get that nice and wet. And then when I think of mushrooms, like most people, I think of the big red mushroom. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a red and just kind of get a big old circle of red in there and let it get nice and happy. And I'm going to put a little bit of orange in the middle just to give it a little bit of variation. And I might do another bit of red up at the top a little bit. Like maybe we'll do a second one up here. Now notice that did not soup out the way that I expected it to. That means we didn't have enough water. So you can just add more water to it and it's not going to hurt anything. Because this is going to be a negative space painting. So with that, it means that there's always room for more paint. So I'm just going to pluck some more paint in here. Let it get nice and yummy. Let the colors do what they want to do. I'm also going to use some of this really bright green. Oh, and if your color accidentally, if you accidentally get a little bit of extra color in there that you didn't mean to, these are really nice about just wiping it off. But I'm just going to sludge some color in here. Get some beautiful greens in there. And then maybe I want to do a little bit of yellow. I'm going to go with this higher pigmented yellow. So it's going to be more of a neon yellow in there. Maybe get some up here at the top too. And I see this really pretty tan color. So maybe somewhere in here there's a little bit of tan happening. You never know with grasses what's going to happen. So I'm just going to slosh some of that in here. If I need more water, I can. That way the pigments move around a little bit more. And you can always add more of a certain color. Like right now, I feel like that needed some more yellow. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to use this darker yellow and kind of separate that out a little bit. And maybe up in here we can see some stuff happening in the background of some sort. So maybe I'm going to use some of this magenta in here and just kind of do some little dots back here. Like maybe there's something further away going on over there. So we can just slosh in some of those colors. Or maybe that's just a different type of bigger mushroom. Who knows? We don't know yet, but you are the master of your painting, so if you feel like it needs something interesting in there, go ahead, put it in. Test yourself. Turn something that looks wild into something colorful. I'm going to use a darker green now. Kind of splutch some of it down here. And here's where we can start shaping some of this a little bit if we wanted to. And we can even get a little bit crazy and add in a darker green if we wanted to too. Maybe there's some darker colors playing up in here. Like maybe there's a whole bunch of grass. You never know. but try it out, see what you think. And then once you feel like it's gotten enough color in there, you could either wait and let it dry, or you can be quick and lazy like me and use a heat gun. So that's what I'm gonna do because I see that it looks like the water is not moving anymore. So I'm gonna, oh, actually I see a couple white bits there and I don't want those white bits. So let me just put in a little bit of yellow up here at the top. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to use my heat gun. It should have noise canceling, so you shouldn't be able to hear it. If you can, let me know if it gets annoying. Okay, so I think that's good enough for what we want. Now, one thing she suggests is taking a light pencil and maybe carving out some of the shapes if you're feeling uncomfortable with them. Oh, hey, how you doing, Aoife? Good to see you. Long time no see, girlfriend. We're just playing around here. 1 a.m. Good grief. I hope you get some sleep soon. So one thing she suggests is if you want, you can go in really lightly with a pencil, and kind of carve out your shapes. I'm not going to do that for two reasons. One, this paper is still a little wet. If I was letting it dry for a couple hours, then sure, I could go in with a pencil, no problem. But the other thing is I don't really like the idea of seeing the pencil markings, as silly as that sounds. Like, that's just not for me. So that's not what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and try and play with some different shapes here. So what I see is I see two main circles. So we know that those are probably going to be like an amanita mushroom of some sort. And I see two things that kind of look like stalks. And then I see something weird and interesting over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about this weird and interesting, and I'm going to carve out a different type of mushroom is what I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to use this dark brown that's over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use very controlled movements. And see, the paper's not wet anymore, so you can do that. Your controlled movements shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to go on to the washi tape a bit so that I can kind of understand the shape of this mushroom that I want. And this is what's called the negative space technique, is carving out your shapes like this. So I see that shape there, and I kind of like that. So that's giving me some good vibes going on. Loving it. Then I'm going to get rid of that color, and I'm going to go in maybe with a dark red. And I see this mushroom shape here. So I'm just going to gently carve out that shape there. It's okay if you don't follow it exactly. We're going to be adding more details to this as we go. Um, So it won't really matter if you kind of go out of bounds a bit. Oops, I accidentally dipped that in my clean water. I do that, y'all. I tell myself, hey, you're going to have one of these be clean water. And then what happens? No. Someday I will follow my own instruction. So I'm just going to lightly trace these out. Something like that. And then, like I said, I do see some stalks happening. So I'm going to go ahead and carve those out too. So I'm going to use a light ochre for that. And I see one stem kind of here. So something like that. And then I see another stem kind of in this general area. And I see something kind of poking out the grass over here. Now, notice some of these colors intermingled a little bit. If I was too worried about it, you can always just simply go back over it with the original color that you drew with. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But remember, you have other things at your disposal. Something that works pretty darn good over watercolors and over gouache happens to be the Neocolor 2s. So later, whenever we go in to start fixing things, we can definitely use that to our disposal. Hey, Laverne, how you doing, girl? Good to see you. So we've got a couple of main shapes in there. Let's go ahead and go in with a dark green. And with that dark green, we're going to add in some blades of grass and kind of start playing with different shapes and stuff. And if I wanted to, I could go in front of the mushroom a little. It's not going to hurt anything. And just kind of carve out where you want these items to live. And if it doesn't look perfect, just remind yourself, nature is not perfect. You see things all the time that are not quite right in nature. So there's no reason for yours to be perfect either. That perfectness does not exist in nature, or that idea of it. It's okay to go into your tape a little bit. That's what it's there for, to keep you in your spot. You can fade that in a bit. Even do some little scratchies. And then we've got this guy up here too, so we don't want to forget about him. So maybe for this, maybe those come out a little bit and go in front of this other mushroom a bit. That's totally fine too. Maybe there's some more grass that's down here. Well, I say down here, what I really mean is up there. Because we already used those colors for what we wanted them to, so now we can paint them out a bit. You can just do layers. And the more layers you put in it, the more realistic and interesting it's going to look. And by realistic, I'm not meaning like actual realism or anything like that, but I'm saying more believable. Your story is going to be believable. And those layers are going to also give you a bit of depth. And you want that depth. Now, maybe these Amanita mushrooms have some lines going on in them. So I'm also, while I'm here, going to add some little circles going on. Maybe these are a different kind of Amanita mushroom. Maybe these are more whimsical and fairy tale. So maybe with that one, it's got that going on. And maybe this one appears a little bit different. Oops. Got a little bit of color mixing happening there. It's okay, we just wipe it away. Maybe this one has those traditional dots we think about when we think of mushrooms. You just don't know what they're gonna have. As Bob Ross says, make some happy little accidents. Let some weird stuff happen. Nature is weird, y'all. And then we've got this cool one here with some dots. I'm gonna add a little bit of the pink back into it that I originally had and just do some more little dots maybe in the middle of those little dots. Hey Motion, how you doing? We're just having some fun with mushrooms today. You're Clint? Okay. I can try to remember to call you that. Don't hate me if I forget the first few times, though. Let's see. Maybe we want a little bit of shading, so what we can do is go back in with that same color and just go under there a little bit. You can definitely, with gouache is very forgiving in that you can do several layers of something and make it look interesting. So maybe on some of these stalks, there's just like a little bit of a shadow. I'm thinking there needs to be a little bit more grass in front of this one. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna let it happen. Boop. Yep, I recognize you. I just didn't know that you wanted to be called Clint. So I apologize about that. There we go. All right. So now we have kind of some more depth going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to blow dry this, and then we are going to bring out my favorites, the Neo colors, and we're just going to have some fun with that. So let's blow dry this a bit. Wonderful. You're going to go live tonight. Make sure you let people know what time. All right. So I'm going to scooch this to the side. And then we're going to bring up our Fancy Dancy Neo colors. Now, like I said, Neo colors like to go over just about everything. So you can really get super creative with them. Like, for example, this color here is really standing out to me. And so is this one. So I think I'm going to mix them a bit. And what I'm going to do is make the stalk of this, because mushrooms kind of have that weird little frilly part sometimes. And I'm seeing the frills with these two colors here. Get that to stand out. Now this type of mushroom would also have some sort of a frill too, but maybe its color is slightly different. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a yellow here. And it's okay if it goes over colors. Sometimes you can kind of scrape at it a little bit and it'll come up or kind of blend in a little bit. So if you want to, you can do that. Like I just did that with my fingernail and it seemed to work out just fine. This one's got pinks and stuff going on in it. So I'm going to use a little bit of a pink for this frill up here. And then this is where we can have a lot of fun because we have a lot of different greens for Neo colors. I didn't mess up my live. Sorry about that. Somebody was trying to FaceTime me. Saying, no, not right now, guys. Love you, but no. So with Neo colors, you can get a little bit wild with them. And you can just kind of make all the different little marks. So this is kind of a bluish green that I'm using right now, like more of a turquoise color. And then I can go back in and maybe I want some like straight marks with a different color. And it's okay to cover up your mushroom just a little bit because remember, there's going to be blades of grass around there. So certainly something would be sticking up, or at least you'd think so. So it's okay. Get a little wild. Don't be afraid to cover things. And then maybe we can use a darker green in here. So this green here has a bit of blue to it, but it's a darker green, so it's going to give us some depth. And I'm just scribbling with it. And look at how cool that looks. I'm just kind of letting it do what it wants to do. And then let's say that we want this, let's say we want this one to be more of the Aminata style. So one thing to be careful about with your Neo colors is sometimes this happens where if you use it on different colors, but all you got to do is just take a paper towel. And with that paper towel, just kind of go like this into it. Just kind of twirl it back and forth. And when you do that, oops, why is my live not showing? Hold on one second here. Yeah, there we go. Whenever you do that, it'll actually clean it off for you. So that way you don't have that problem anymore. So, you know, don't be afraid to clean off your brushes or clean off your Neo colors like that, and it'll work just fine. So what I'm going to do is anywhere I've got this yellow at, I'm going to put a little bit of white in there too. And what's going to happen is that yellow is going to look more like a highlight now to the white mark that we're going to be putting in there. So that's what we're going to do. And don't be afraid to kind of go off the walls and put a couple of extra white marks in there too. Real mushrooms don't follow the rules, so you don't have to either. So here we are, just putting some extra little marky moos in there. There we go, just like that. And then maybe this mushroom has a bit of weird happening to it, so maybe it's got some purple. So we can just add some cool purples in here. Now my screen, it looks like it's frozen on YouTube. Can you guys just let me know if you can see and hear me okay? I'd really appreciate it if you did. Because I'll know if I can see the chat. Because I can see the chat's moving. I just want to make sure that you guys can see and hear what I'm doing. Because I'm not really sure why it is being so extra right now. Yep, it's fine. Oh, good, good, wonderful. Because that was kind of worrying me a little bit. Because I was like, let's see here. So we've got that light purple in there. I kind of want to add another type of purple in here. So I'm kind of looking. Let's maybe use a dark purple. Let's see what that looks like. That dark purple kind of makes the orange pop a little bit. And then let's do something interesting on this guy right here. Let's try maybe let's do a little bit of a red, and let's just do some little circles in here. Maybe this mushroom's just got a lot going on. Now, something that would be even interesting is if you wanted to, you could even add a third layer to this and maybe do some collage in it as well. I think some collage would look really cool with it. Something that I would maybe collage in here is maybe like an insect or something like that, or maybe you're a fairy kind of person. You could do some fairies, something to kind of add a focal point to it. Right now, our three mushrooms are pretty much the focal point, but you can always do something interesting with it. Like maybe you can't really see the bugs that are in here, so maybe there's just going to be a hint of them. So I'm just going to every now and then put in a little fleck of yellow. And these could be fireflies. We used to have a ton of fireflies when I was a kid, and now you don't really see them as much. You can see them out in the country, and they've been coming back to the city just a little bit, so they're not totally gone. But there for a while, it was a little scary. I thought we were not going to have fireflies for my son. Because I remember when I was a kid, they were so prevalent, you would catch them in jars. And do a little bit of a scribble around it for the illumination. So you can totally add as many details as you want. As you can see, it's very forgiving. All right. So let's now see what this ends up looking like here. So I'm going to take the clips off and I'm just going to pull this up. And see, because I'm using washi tape, it's not going to stick to my pages and rip anything, which is nice. Because I do not like it when tape is too sticky like that. It really bothers me when it rips the pages. And whenever I used to use painter's tape, it would do that all the time, and it would really bother me. So let's go ahead and sign that one. I think that one looks pretty cool. I think we did the Wild Pencil proud. And once again, the reason why I'm bringing up the Wild Pencil is that's another YouTube channel on here. I do have her video in my description if you want to check her out. She's really cool. Like, she is very good at what she does, and she is a big gouache person. So I like to sign and date things. It's how I keep track of my progress. So today is Thursday, May 21st. So 5/21/26. So now, what if you're like, hey, Keisha, I don't have expensive paper. Why are you showing me this on expensive paper? Well, that's fine. Let's try it on non-expensive paper. The idea is going to be the same, though the water is going to probably behave a bit differently. So let's go ahead and try that out and see what would happen. So I'm going to go ahead and first I'm going to push this up to the camera so that you can see the details in it a little bit better. And then I will switch out my papers for you. So this is what it looks like. And my camera is once again paused. So I can't really see what I'm doing. So hopefully this is in a good spot for you. I'm going to set that to the side. Um, Even though I have used Neocolors in it, you should not need to use an affixative on it unless you're doing a lot of thick Neocolor 2 stuff. Then maybe I would think about it. But with what we did, that shouldn't be a problem. So this is Canson mixed media paper. This is very easy to get where I am from. You can get it at any art store. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to use that negative space technique, but we're going to try to use it with the Canson mixed media. And we're going to see what ends up happening. Now, I don't have any preconceived ideas for what this should be, for what this painting is going to be. So I'm just literally going to do as Karen McCoy says, slap some paint on paper. And we're just going to see where it leads us. But we're gonna just put the tape down on it, and it shouldn't rip this paper either. I do just use my washi tapes are all from Amazon. Um, every once in a while you'll get a washi tape that's a little bit too big for its britches and maybe is a little bit too sticky. I throw those away. But usually if you get the really pretty ones, I don't know why, but they all like do not stick very well, which is just fine for what I'm wanting to use them for because I'm not really using them for card making or anything like that. If I do use it for card making, then I do add some glue to the other side. Aw, it makes me so happy seeing you guys like meeting each other in the chat because I think y'all are wonderful, so I think that's cool. That's right. We're just gonna go for it. We're not gonna overthink it. I've got plenty of Neocolors over here. So if it turns into a hot mess, we're gonna hot mess it in a pretty way. So I'm very curious to see how this is gonna work. One thing I am suspecting is gonna happen is we're probably gonna see some paper warping, because this kind of paper is not gonna want to absorb the water in the same way. Um, So it's probably going to be a little bit thicker on there. So I'm really curious about what's going to end up happening with it. I have not gouached on this particular type of paper before. So it could be fun. Could be interesting. Um, we're just going to try it out and see. Now, all of my waters have been used. I did not leave one water clean, of course. So please give me one moment and I'm just going to refill my water cups. Because as you can see, gouache gets your water very gross. That is the one thing I do not like about gouache. I love what gouache does, but I do not like what it does to my water. So please give me just one moment and I will be right back. Alrighty. I am now back with 3 clean waters. Will they stay clean? No, they won't. But we're sure gonna try our best to keep them clean. So here they are right now. All right, so let's go ahead and start with our first step, which is get it all watery. So like I said, we're probably gonna see some wrinkling, but that's gonna be totally okay. We might even see some see-through from the back, I'm not sure. Usually with mixed media paper, I don't have a ton of problems with it, but we're using a lot of water today. And different papers are gonna react completely different to that. But I think it's important to show what it does on both. Because, I couldn't afford the expensive paper for a very long time. And whenever I do use it, it is for a treat to myself. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that I try to use all the time. I know they say not to make stuff precious to you, but I do think paper is precious. Because paper is expensive. So we've got some water on there now. Now this time what I want to do is use some of the colors we did not use before. So I'm looking at this really pretty blue here. And I'm just going to kind of spleck it on the paper. I have no preconceived idea of what I'm doing here. This could be flowers, this could be whatever it wants as far as I'm concerned at the moment. So I see that pretty blue, I see a purple here, so we're going to put some of this purple in there. Like maybe we want to do some big balls of purple and let it kind of mix together a little bit. And then I've got this like pinkish color. If they're calling it a magenta, I say it looks like a hot pink. You be the judge. And I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm thinking that this is probably going to be flowers, which I'm totally fine with. Maybe flowers in a vase of some sort. So let's go ahead and since we kind of have the idea that this might be in a vase, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a brown down here. Maybe our vase is brown. And then maybe the walls or something behind it is yellow. So I'm going to use some of my yellow in here. And just kind of let it do whatever it wants to do. So I'm just kind of spletching some of the yellow in between. Hey Raven, how you doing, girl? Uh-oh, I've got my second water. I dipped a color in it. We're gonna see if we can keep that third water clean. Raven, we are working on reverse negative painting. So I actually just did some on the fancy paper. So this is how it turned out on the fancy paper. And then we are now testing it on regular paper that you could get at Walmart or at Hobby Lobby, just some Canson mixed media paper. and we're gonna see if it's gonna hold up to all this water or not. And I'm thinking we're doing flowers right now. So, negative space painting is when you basically just take a bunch of like colors and just put it on the paper. And then afterwards, what you do is you'll start layering, and as you layer, you minimize what's there. So, like, for example, whenever we did these mushrooms, they did not start out as mushrooms. It actually started out as a big watery mess where we just let the reds bleed into each other and then let some greens bleed in. And then we started layering it up and then layering. And as we added more layers, it sort of gives you the shapes that you want. Like right now, this is just a bunch of balls that, it's like an impression of something. Um, but as we go to start drying things and starting to add layers, hopefully it'll turn into something beautiful. Ooh, a reverse coloring book. How does that work, Laverne? That sounds amazing. So, like, I'm gonna go ahead and spleck some green here because most of the time flowers have some green in them. Like right now, it's gonna look like nothing, but by the time we're done, it's gonna be somebody. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and dry our first layer here. Something I'm noticing on this cheaper paper is I'm noticing that the water is not only sitting on top of the page, but it's also kind of doing something weird with the colors, like with this green, for example. When I swiped it in there, it should have stayed more of a green, but instead it turned muddy. So that's something to kind of think about when trying this technique on cheaper paper. Oh, okay. That's really cool. I've never heard of that in a coloring book before, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, so I think that is fairly dry. Something I was noticing is it does buckle the paper. The water is. And it's because it's not really meant for this. We are putting this paper to the test, man. But that's always fun. Oh, hey, thank you. I appreciate it. We are actually testing the difference between using the fancy paper and some Canson mixed media paper because anybody can get a hold of Canson mixed media. So we're gonna try and see if we can do some reverse painting with it. So we're starting out with some splotches and then hopefully turning it into something fun. So this is actually what we just made before on the fancy paper, and we're gonna make a beautiful bushel of flowers on this paper and see what we can do. Yes. And for anybody who doesn't know Karen, go check out her channel. Her channel is really cool. She does a lot of, talking about self-healing, that kind of stuff. But while she's doing it, she's painting, and it's so relaxing and so empowering. So definitely check her out. She is awesome. All right, so now let's think about what to do with this. So we know that we've got these flowers in the background, and kind of in this foreground here, we've got this greenery going on. Or do we want to push the green back and add some more of the purple back in? The world is our oyster, so we're going to try it out. I think I'm going to add some of this lighter green in here and see what we can do. We're going to kind of play with it a little bit because we're pushing this paper to the limit already. Why not push it some more? Might as well. And this time with it, like I said, I didn't have like a conceived notion for the second painting. It was just kind of an idea to do it. Um, so might as well just have some fun and try it out and see what happens. So I'm going to add a little bit more of that purple back in here, but instead I'm going to kind of go around it where some of this lighter purple is and see if we can get some shapes going. Because the whole point of this is to let the colors just kind of exist and for us just to play around with it. There we go. Oh, you're welcome, Karen. No problem. I love supporting other channels, and anything I can do to help, I will. Let's see here. So we're gonna just, at this point, this is where we're using our skills to kind of see an image. You can turn it into literally anything you want. And with these balls of color, I'm seeing flowers. So that's what I'm gonna do with them. I'm gonna turn them into some flowers and see what we can do to make them pretty again. Because that's kind of half the fun of this, is like ending up with a big mess and then going through and being like, you know what? I can make something interesting out of this. And once again, don't be afraid to paint over some of it, because, you know, there is going to be some overlap in there, and that's going to be totally fine. Just like in a real bouquet of flowers, you're going to see overlaps. So don't be afraid. Just let your paintbrush guide you. Seeing another one of these purple flowers here. Might need a little bit more water on this brush here in a second. Just try not to overdo it because I don't want the paper to buckle too much. But what you gonna do? There we go. So we can just add back in some of those nice shapes. And remember, we also have our Neo colors too. So anything we can't do with a paintbrush, we can certainly do with Neo colors because they are magic. Oh, I'm doing a good job of keeping this one this one thing of paint untouched, or the one piece of water. So I know earlier I was like, am I gonna be able to do that? I'm having some impulse control. Okay, so there's some flowers there. And then let's go on top of these red ones because those red ones kind of look like roses. So we can use another layer of the gouache on top of that. Hey Falcon, how you doing? Let's see here. So now we're gonna add those circles back in and do some playful swirling. And those playful swirls are eventually going to read as rose. There we go, just like that. This is going to be a very abstract piece, which is going to be really fun because I like abstract. I like abstract and I really like impressionism. I don't do them as much as I should, but that's okay. Sometimes you just got a lot that you want to do. But I sure do enjoy trying it here with y'all. There we go. So now we've got some blues and purples in here that we got to make some decisions about. So let's go ahead and get some dark blue here. And I think with these dark purple ones, I'm going to make those more like roses too. That way we have a dark version and we have a light version. Oh, I missed one of these like pinky looking flowers over here too. So let me draw that in real quick. There we go. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh my gosh, I have 11 people in here. I can do a giveaway. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So a couple days ago, I said that if I got over 10 people in a room, that I would do a giveaway of this beautiful journal. So there's actually a story behind this journal. I was in an estate sale back in Kansas City, and an older lady passed away. And they had a whole room of her art supplies, and it was the last day of the estate sale, and they said they were going to throw everything away. And I saw that she had made a small junk journal. So this is her junk journal that she made, and I thought it would be nice to give this away, not only to keep her memory alive, but also maybe you're somebody who's curious about junk journals, and maybe that's something that you want to try. I think that this could be a great starter journal for somebody. Um, so yeah, we could give this away right here, right now, and that would be totally fine. Um, so if you want, go ahead and in the chat put one number that is between 1 and 100. Go ahead and do that real quick if you would. And I'm going to go ahead and type in the word go for that and just put in your number. Well, if I can get the thing to work. Go. Yay. Yep. I'll still count those two that were before me. That's totally fine. So go ahead and put some numbers in. Numbers, put your numbers in. Yes, you should also do it, Raven. It's for everybody. Put your number in. Especially because I know that I have 3 before you, Keeks. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. 69. Oh my god, you're bad. Alrighty, let's see how many numbers I got in here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers so far. So I'm just gonna give it a couple more seconds here. So if you want, go ahead and tell your friends that we're doing a giveaway. And we'll do how I'll do my giveaway is it has to be a number either on or under, and it'll be the closest one on or under. If it happens to be a number where everybody is over, then we'll just redo the number, and that's not a big deal. Doot doot doot. So if you haven't already, get your number in, your number in. All right, I think that's pretty much everybody. So let me get this out of my way because I'm going to need my iPad so I can get to random.org. So I'm going to go ahead and type in stop. So our numbers are all locked in. Now let me go ahead and grab my iPad real quick. Right. So this is my iPad, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up random number generator. And we're going to put it to 100 and hit generate. 18. Let's see here. Was anybody under 18? Oh my God, Karen, I think you're my winner, girl. Congratulations, Karen. I think it's Karen. Okay, so let me put in my email address. If you could just email me your address that you would like this sent to, and I will get that to you. So my email address is keeks.hunt@outlook.com. So that, oh, not keeks. It auto-corrected me. I know I have your address on my package, but I don't know where I put the envelope to it. I put it to the side to write it down, and your girl was forgetful. So I don't know what happened. But just email me your address just to make sure that I've got it. And then I will send that to you. You're my first giveaway. I'm so happy. Oh, yay. So you will get that beautiful journal, and I will set that to the side just for you, my friend. All right. Good stuff. And I will probably get that in the mail. If not tomorrow, then at least over the weekend, probably on Saturday. So it'll be all good. Yay! I'm so excited to see what you end up doing with it. Very fun. Thank you guys for indulging me in that. I've always wanted to do a giveaway, so I feel really cool right now. All right. So what were we doing? We were doing little swirly swirls on our dark purple with blue. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see here. So I see a purple right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that swirly in there. Give her a little swirly dirly. I don't know what that's from. I think that's from like a movie or something. They were probably meaning like an actual swirly, but I'm going to use it as this kind of swirly. It's a fun swirly. Let's see here. Here's another one right in here. There we go. And then we've got one right here. All right, so we got those in there. And then let's see here. I'm not real happy with how bright that yellow is, so I'm going to tone it down with some orange. Maybe do a little bit of orange in here. Maybe it's on like an orange table or something like that. Ooh, I can hear somebody's car alarm going off. Hopefully they get that soon. That will drive me up the wall. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to hit this with the heat gun, and then I think we are going to go ahead and pull out our neo colors because I think we've done enough of the paint part. Now, what kind of paper is this one? So this is the Canson mixed media. We're testing to see if we can use the gouache to do that reverse imaging with it, which it seems like it's doing just fine. I used arches for the first one, just because I had a preconceived notion of what I was doing. And then I pulled this out so that I could just kind of play because I was like, why not use something that anyone can get their hands on? All right, this should cancel out, so give me just 1 second here. And that should be good enough. Now let's work a little bit on this pot because this pot is kind of looking a little uggy uggy and we want it to look beautiful. So I'm going to take a bit of yellow because yellow is such a triumphant happy color. And I kind of see in this like a pattern, kind of like it's almost like it's a serrated um type pot. So I'm gonna put in some of that, get some edges going on there. Like I'm kind of like viewing this as like maybe it's like a 1970s kind of pot. It's got that 70s vibe to it. So we're gonna start with that lighter color in there like that. And then maybe we can use a bit of a darker yellow and add a little bit of shading to it. So let's see here. Let's use this lemon yellow too. This lemon yellow might be cool. We're going to put the lemon yellow kind of in the middle here, kind of like there's a shine. Speaking of 1970s colors, if you haven't already, check out Yolande Devon Rexper art. Her live this week, it was really funny. She pulled her card and it was just browns and yellows and she's like, oh my god, what am I gonna do with this? But she ended up turning it into the cutest, and I mean cutest giraffe. um so definitely check her out if you haven't already. Oh, that doesn't look like it's totally dry there. Let's dry that up a little bit. There we go. But what she did is proof that you can do anything with any coloring palette. It was really funny too, because she was like, should I redraw the color? And you could tell that she wanted everybody to say yes, and everybody said, no, no, you got this, you got this. She had it just fine. But it was really funny. um, let's see here. So I'm gonna kind of darken this up over here too. And that's where we can use another brown in here. Yeah, her giraffe was so cute. I think she named it Gerald and Gina, or maybe it was Geraldina. Either way, it had a very cute name for a very cute giraffe. Just gonna give this a little bit of shading here, just so that there's something interesting happening. Remember, if you accidentally get the Neocolor where you don't want it to, scrape it with your nail. Like I had that black on this pot and I didn't want that black there, so I just scraped it a little bit. You can also kind of rub them a little bit too. Like see how I'm rubbing that in and now it's kind of giving it a burnt look. So you can burnish these. That's what that's called when you push hard on something. It's called burnishing. So now that has kind of an interesting burnished look, and our pot is now sticking out, which I like quite a bit. So let's work on this green a bit, and I'm gonna add a darker green to it and kind of go up. Remember, you got that tape there, so play with the tape. If you are somebody that needs the full picture to be able to understand what's going on, just draw on the tape. It's not going to hurt anything. Like I'm seeing that this plant kind of goes down a little bit. Seeing some like leaves kind of interplaying with each other. And we're going to be using multiple greens in this too, so we'll have a highlight color in there as well. But we're just kind of looking at the shapes that we're seeing, going with it. So it kind of seems like whatever plants are in here have kind of spiky leaves is what I'm seeing. But just think, whenever we started out with this, all there were was just a bunch of dots. Anybody can do a bunch of dots on the paper. So if you're somebody who's struggling with confidence or anything like that, just try it. Just wet the paper all the way. Don't worry about the weird little bendies you're going to get, because you will get some bendies. And just, kind of play with it, because I didn't really have any idea what this was going to be. And it's going to turn into something beautiful because you made it. Let's see here. Here's an even lighter green. Oh yeah, I like that a lot. It needed something like this. A little bit of a highlight. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So now let's think about, because we've got these pink flowers in here. One thing that I definitely know that I want for them is I would like a dot or something in the middle of them, because I think that would be interesting. So I'm going to put a blue dot in the middle of them right away, just because I think the blue will just add a little something to it. This blue has a bit of a green tint to it to me, like a turquoisey blue. So I kind of think that looks interesting. And then let's take something that looks maybe like this magenta. And I think this magenta could look really interesting. And I'm just going to repeat the pattern that I've already made with the leaf. So I'm just putting some little humps in there. And that's going to give it a little bit of texture. Because that's kind of like what you really want with these, is you want as much texture as you can texture it. Because the texture is what's going to make it come to life. And see, we just turned some weird wonky shape into something that is now starting to resemble a flower, which is great. But just adding a little bit of texture. On this one, we can't see the blue dot because the blue dot is probably behind these leaves, so we're just going to add the texture anyway. And it's there. I see one over here too, so we're just going to add some texture to that. And we've got these busy boys over here. Hey, how you doing, Marcy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Marcy is almost done with her, which Marcy is the cranky crafter. She is almost done going through a watercoloring book that she's been doing. I think she just has like 2 or 3 more left to do in that bad boy, and then it's done. And then she can give herself a nice pat on the back. You're ready to move on? Yeah, but it'll all be worth it because I mean, look at how much hard work you've put into that. I think I'm going to take a lighter purple and kind of go over that too. Ooh, yeah, that's a good choice because that adds even more of that texture in there and kind of breaks up the darkness. Kind of gives it something interesting. Hey, Ronan, how you doing?
Daddy, you loud, Mommy already looked up.
Well, I mean, you can be loud, but not loud, loud. Mommy's recording.
Hi, guys!
This is my son, Ronan. He's my co-host. All right, that's enough waving, silly boy.
Hi.
No more. No more. Did you guys catch any fish?
No.
No. What happened? Daddy was supposed to get you a lot of fish.
Oh, you didn't know it's me.
Well, they know it's you because you're my son and I talk about you a lot. So they're saying hi to you.
Hi, guys.
Hi, internet friends.
And that's my husband, Mason, my other co-host.
Hello.
I'll say hi again for Daddy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's enough.
All right.
That's enough wavy wavies.
All right, go get ready.
Go take a shower. You smell like a fish.
Move on, Mr. Fish.
There's a trash going away.
Well, then why did you put that there?
No.
Well, I watched you put it there.
All right. Oh, are you putting a deer on there? See, he's just as bad as Ronan. They see a camera and they're like, hello.
Nom nom nom.
How are you eating my flowers? Get
Deers
out of
like flowers.
Get out of here. You're cute. Go away. Hey, how you doing, Marie? Good to see you. I'm gonna do some orange in this rose here because we're gonna bring back some of the orange that was from earlier. Hey, Mason, guess what?
What?
I did my first giveaway.
Yay! Yay to the winner.
Yes, Karen won.
Go, Karen, go. Also, our son caught the first fish, and it was huge.
He just told me that you guys didn't catch
He
anything.
caught a lot of fish. Yeah, he was a master angler.
Aw.
It was a very impressive fish.
Aw, well, good. I hope you took pictures. I want to see.
Hi, fish friends.
I did do the giveaway. Yes, Marcy, I had enough people in here and was able to do it, and Karen won. I was so happy. And now that lady's memory can live on and she's going to a good home. There we go, something like that. And then we need something in here. Maybe we can bring back in another turquoise, but go with more of a green. Or is that going to be too wild? Let's see here. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to do it anyway. Why not? I don't know why I'm questioning myself. Just go for it, Keisha. It's going to be fine. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks really nice, and it kind of makes these flowers that have it in the middle stick out more. I think I am gonna put a little bit more in there. There we go. So I like that. That's kind of like a little abstracty flowery piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the tape off of this and see what we've ended up with here. And once again, this is just normal washi tape. Now, we used a lot of water on this, and this is Canson paper. It's not the same as that other paper, so I do see just a tiny bit of ripping, but nothing that I would be too mad about. And it's because of the water. Now, we did use a heat gun over top of the washi tape, so I am aware of the heat gun, how heat guns can help you take off washi tape. Um, but I'm honestly not that pressed about it. It's fine. So just kind of beware, water and tape sometimes do some weird stuff. But yeah, I don't think that looks bad at all. Ooh, that actually looks really good with that straight edge there. I like that a lot. Let's see, what did we say today was? Today's the 21st, right? Always good to date your stuff so that you can see your progress. There we go. So, with that, we have now done two really good pieces, I feel like, that I'm pretty happy with. Aw, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. So we did this really cool mushroom one with the fireflies. And then we also did this really beautiful bouquet of flowers. And remember, these, because they were that negative space painting, these were just blobs of paint on paper. They didn't have a shape or anything. And what you do is you just build up your layers. And as you build up your layers, you'll be able to do some magic. Plus, Neo colors. Now, Neo Color 2s can be a bit pricey, but there is another option. Amazon does have something that's called the eye crayon. So it's kind of like you would almost think that it was made by Apple or something because there's an eye in front of it and then the word crayon. And those are about half the price. And I have tested those before. If you look back at my regular videos, not my lives, there's one where I test them. And they're pretty much the same thing. Like the only difference is I feel like the more water you put on the Neocolor 2s, the more you can make the pigment disappear. So you could pretty much wipe it away as if it didn't exist anymore. With the eye crown, you do get a little bit of a mark left over, but they blend really, really well. The peer pressure is real. Have you tried them yet? Don't you know all about those eye crowns? Yes. They are a lot of fun, so don't worry if you're someone who's like, "Oh my God, I'm never gonna be able to afford all of this art supplies. This is terrible." Eye crayon is out there from Amazon, and it is basically the same thing for like boop, half the price, and you get twice as many. Oh no, she Aoife knows. I told her about those, and that's why she bought them. Well, dude, I need you to use those. You got them, use them. I promise you, they are a load of fun. So yeah, there's always going to be other options out there. Don't just use the high dollar one. You don't need to do that. Eventually if you want to treat yourself, great, but otherwise don't break your bank. It's a hard economy. Don't do that to yourself. But at this point, I am going to go ahead and go. Thank you so much for everybody being here. Congratulations to Karen, and thank you everybody who came and who stopped by. I really appreciate you. Yeah, next time you play along with me, I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna be like, hey, hey, you got those eye crowns out? But thank you guys so much. If you could please like, share, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. But good night, everybody. Thank you so much. And Karen, don't forget to resend me your address, please. Thank you. Bye, guys.